yourself and as coaches, as players. And then you have plays that work, and what plays can we run off of these plays? Because if they're plays that don't work, you probably don't run them again anyway. So your successful plays just gives you a chance to kind of build volume and really with your players, like, here's what you did well on this play, and the ones that didn't, here's what we got to do better, and here's how we're going to do it, and map that plan out for them so that we can improve.
And just to follow up, I know you mentioned all during fall camp Brennan's ability to run the football, but kind of seeing it from the field live and game action for you guys for the first time, what was that like? Just kind of seeing that impact from him, extending drives and making plays.
Yeah, it's what I hoped would happen, to be honest. Like, you saw it all through camp. Didn't know how the contact piece would come in, but he enjoys the physicality of football, and he can make things happen. A lot of his rushing yards were self-manufactured scrambles, right? So it wasn't just calling QB run game. There was a couple designed runs for him, but most of it was just drop back and things aren't there, So he adds an element to the game that allows you to call plays, and sometimes he just makes it a better play, and he's just got to continue to be smart with the football and protect the football and manage, that part of the game. I thought he did a great job of that in this one, because he's not afraid to take contact, and so he's got to do a really good job being smart about it.
Appreciate it.
Kate?
Coach, on Thursday, obviously, Payton Wilson didn't miss a beat with the 10 tackles interception. Kind of a two-parter. Number one, how proud are you of him to come out and have such a dominant game to set the tone of the season? And within that, how much do you land or lean on his leadership coming into such a big-time matchup for Saturday versus Notre Dame?
Yeah, first of all, he did play really well. It was fun to see him playing ball like that. He was all over the field, getting off blocks, tackled well in the box and in space, and got his hand on a couple balls in pass coverage, had a great interception, and brought tremendous leadership on our punt team. He did a great job as our personal protector. And so Peyton's presence is very felt there. Second part is, his presence is really felt off the field too. He's commanding this football team in ways that he never has vocally. And so I'm very proud of him for that. And it's fun to see that growth in him. I think, when he decided to come back, one of the things he wanted to become was a better leader, and he's doing that. And so we're going to need that. This is going to be a game of ups and downs. There's going to be momentum that swings back and forth throughout the game. Your leaders have to really show up in games like this, because it's going to take that. You're going to have moments where you need that, where he can calm things down and get guys going and then be a spark. So we're excited. I know he's excited for this game. Not that he's not for all of them, because, he understands the value of playing, because he's had the game taken from him enough. But big games like this, these are, special things for kids.
Ethan M.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering if there's any update on Rakim and how he's doing.
You bet. Yeah, Rock's good. They kept him there to do all the tests, and every one of them came back the way you would want. And so he's back with us. He will not play this week. He's going to need at least a week probably to shake that one off. I would equate that to a whiplash type thing, and so pretty sore, and just got to get the soreness out and, get him back to who he was. He'll play again, all that, and just don't know how long it's going to take, but as far as things could have been, he came out of it as good as it could have been. And so, disappointing act that took place there, and, just thankful that he's okay.
Thanks, Coach.
Brian?
Yeah, Coach, I wondered if you had any thoughts on the additions of Stanford and Cal and SMU, and I wonder if Chancellor Woodson or Boo Corrigan talked to you about it before they made their decision.
We all know why the decisions were made, and so it really doesn't matter how I feel about it. From a college football standpoint, that's what everyone is doing, right? They're adding teams that are coast to coast and making their leagues bigger, and I can understand the rationale behind it with what just happened in the Pac-12. A couple teams left and the league fell apart, and so they're adding stability to the league by getting bigger. And Financially, I don't really know because I haven't been told all the ins and outs. Detail wise, I'm sure that'll come out to public at some point on all the things that come with this deal. Be honest, I've had my head down trying to get our football team ready, and that stuff really doesn't mean a lot to me. For us, we're going to go play one game maybe every other year out there, maybe. And so it'd be fun to go show the guys the Golden Gate Bridge, I guess, and see Cali a little bit. And they're the teams that have the struggle, like having to travel all the time. For us, it's a one-off going out there.
JB?
Hey, Dave, I wanted to get one more question in with you. Going back to Brennan Armstrong and you speaking about how he enjoys the physical contact, even if he's just scrambling out of the pocket and, going downfield and getting those rushing yards. Is that going to be a catch-22 type of situation for you? You know what I mean? Knowing that you can use him as a weapon with his running ability, but at the same time, you kind of have to protect him because he's arguably your best player on offense and the one who will give you the most production. So how will you attack that, moving forward this season?
Yeah, you're right. I think it's some of it's out of my control. When a guy takes off scrambling, he's scrambling. And so that's part of who he is, man. And you got to let the kid be who he is as a player. When it comes to the designed runs, that's where we got to be smart. We've got to know what kind of position we're putting him in on those plays and try to get him enough blocking in front of him and different things like that. It's not a deal where we want him in a designed run game all the time, taking those hits. When you drop back and throw and there's not as many parts because people are playing coverage, it's a little different, when a guy and he can dive and get away from the contact. He has to do a good job in those scenarios of not putting himself at risk. I know if it's a short yardage thing where he needs 1 yard to get it, or it's a goal line thing where he's straining to score, he's going to play with contact. That's just how he is. When it's not, then he's got to play for the next down, and be smart about it. And you saw that in the game. He did a good job of sliding and keeping himself out of contact when he could. But you're right. It's anytime you have a guy that runs like that, it's tough. It's tough for the defense. It's also tough for you as a quarterback and as a coach because, we want him to be able to play every game and stay healthy. And so he understands. He's been doing this a long time. When you talk to him about it, he understands when and when not to, barrel down versus, get himself down.
Corey?
Dave, you mentioned how strong this offensive line is for Notre Dame and potentially getting a guy like Savion Jackson back for this game. How big would it be to have that defensive line at full strength heading into this matchup?
Yeah, we're going to need them. Their line's really good. They're talented and big, and they're well coached. And so it's one of those games in the box, where it's going to be a game of will in there, imposing will and leverage, strength, fundamentals, inside hands, pad level. It's going to be awesome, in the box. It's definitely going to be a game where we got to strain, and having a guy like Savion helps because he is really, really good player and he adds to what we have in that box. So hopefully we will have him. That's the plan, and looking forward to seeing him back out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
James?
Dave, when you watched the game back, you didn't have a lot of explosive vertical plays in this game. Was that dictated by their coverage? What did you see watching the tape back?
Yeah, I think, a couple things. We had some shots called and they were covered.
Mm-hmm.
And so good job by them. I think there was a couple times we did throw the ball down the field and didn't connect in the game. We had one called that was wide open and Brennan took off running on that play. So that would have been a vertical shot we would have hit. So it just didn't work out that way. I know, you guys have watched Robert's offenses enough to know that he does like to push the ball down the field, and it just didn't happen. Their corners and their safeties did a nice job of playing with depth on some things and having help when they needed it. But yeah, most of our explosiveness, and we didn't have a ton either today. I think the defenses both tackled somewhat well for a first game, was underneath stuff. That's where you saw first guy miss, second guy miss, third guy miss in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we do need to be able to push the ball down the field a little bit more.
Do we have any other questions for Coach? All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you all.
Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Annabelle.